All right, Knights of Apollo. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the battlefield. We are back playing NTW3, the glorious mod for Napoleon Total War. Look at these men and their mighty mustaches, guys. What do you guys think? Do you think mustaches need to come back? Look at every single man. I mean, when you're part of the old guard, yeah, you better have a Chad mustache, because if you don't, I mean, I guess you could go with the beard, but you know what, guys? I mean, lately I've been seeing that beards are cope now, you know? Like, it's all about the mustache, you know? I don't know. Anyways, welcome back. We got a 4v4. I think this is Prussia versus France. Now, here's a little bit of a challenge for me personally, is that, and I don't know why I'm doing slow motion. These battles are very long. They've updated the mod, and you see this? We can't get any of the info of the unit. This is part of the new update. Now, to my understanding, this mode where you can't see the fatigue of enemy units, how many, you know, that kind of stuff, what type of unit, if they can form square, you don't get that info anymore. Originally, that was just part of, like, hardcore battles. Now it's in the standard classic battle mode, so I don't know what these units are. I mean, this obviously looks like a hussar unit, but that's a bit of a struggle for me in terms of you know, doing commentary on these battles. But yeah, let's jump in and look at the different armies that we have here. So in the town, we have the Imperial Guard army. So this is the very awesome old guard type units. Very cool. Look at these lads. Look at them. I just love this time period. It's such a great period. Then we have Marshal Ney. Now, when I say it's a great period, I mean like to learn about and be fascinated about. I would not really want to live in this time period, as many people died in these wars, and yeah, it was, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe spend a week. I shouldn't say that. I don't know. I mean, look at our timeline now. Like, it's now that I look back, it's like this could be an epic time period. Anyways, we got Marshal Ney over here with his forces. They are pushing up a lot of troops here. Lots of infantry ready to go. Back over here, this is the 3rd Army. I don't know how to pronounce this marshal's name. I'm not even going to try. It's very French sounding, but that is his force. It looks like he's got a lot of line infantry. And then we've got the Cav Corps, I guess you could say, or Cav Division. We have Murat. Not Murray. Murat. In the last NTW, I pronounced his name Murray. I guess, guys, I was watching too much of the Joker, Murray. When you call me out, Murray, can you call me Napoleon? Like, so yeah, Murat, I almost did it. Murat is here, and he is bringing a lot of cav. And then, of course, like I said, we have 4 Prussian armies that are present on the battlefield. So, this is how the battle is playing out. Let me go ahead and put the mini map here so you can get a bigger picture. The red squares are the French, the blue are the Prussians. The French have taken a solid defensive position. You can see that they've got the 79th, they got the 69th, giggity, very nice. The 39th, and we also have another 39th right next to them. So I like this little position. They got a little bit of wall cover. I don't know if this actually gives them cover, but it looks really cool. It looks fantastic. Look at these men. God, dude. There's something about this period that I just cannot explain why I'm so fascinated by it. I mean, it's the uniforms. It's just the type of warfare of, like, forming lines. And, you know, this is kind of like when warfare started to get really organized with the corps. And, you know, Napoleon was so good at that. But there we go. There we go. I don't know what I was gonna say with that. There we go. But yeah, it's just a fascinating time to me. You know, I can't stop learning about it. And it's filled with, it's kind of reminds me of the American Civil War, where you have all these fascinating characters and they've got all these unique personalities, and they're so brave. I mean, Marat was so brave, man. I mean, all the marshals of France are just, I can't imagine being surrounded by such Chad men, you know, like just that sounds weird, but I just, you know, such big brain. Not only were they big brain, and some were bigger brain than others, you know, some of them had more wrinkly brains, but they were all brave, man. They were all brave and intelligent, and they all, a lot of them, I think only one marshal came from royalty. The rest were just like sons of, like, you know, simple people. You know, it's, I don't know, it's just really, really fast. I love, if you guys ever have a chance, epic history. By the way, we got some artillery set up in the graveyard here, just kind of opening fire at the advancing, what is this, the Prussian cav, who's just kind of chilling. Looks like they're just, you know, scouting, looking for an opportunity to find a weak spot in the French army. But yeah, you know, just, I don't know. You know what's really funny too is, like, I was never really into this time period for the longest time. Only until like after I started YouTube, I had a good friend who just really, like, was passionate about it, and just, like, you know, I guess his passion really just, you know, just, I don't know, it just motivated me, and then I was like, oh yeah, I get it now. This is epic. And here's a little bit of a cav engagement. Ney is going in, Ney is going in with the cav. And they're going to clean up that Prussian cav. But there's a lot more Prussian cav, which I'm kind of surprised they didn't commit more cav into that fight. There was a couple French cav there that was looking like they were about to break apart there, maybe rout, but they didn't go for it. So instead, they've got the infantry who are now opening fire on the French lines. Oh, that crackle. Yeah, they're opening fire, and the French look like they are maneuvering their lines to kind of deal with this Prussian flank. You can see that Prussia's really going hard on the flank, and I really like that from the Prussian plays here. I really like the fact that they're kind of going outside of the town. I think charging the center of this town would be suicide. I mean, look at what's waiting for them. So I think that's a good idea to kind of go for the wings and really cause the French to stretch out their lines and see if they can really take advantage of that. Now, for the French, what they need to do is just keep holding on and just making sure that this cav doesn't get behind their army. They really want to make sure that their cav units really protect the flank, because that's the key in terms of a defensive position. Make sure your flank does not fall. You guys ever see Gettysburg? When they show Little Round Top, you got the 20th Maine, and they're the very end of the line, and how important it is to be the end of the line in a defensive position. Such an epic moment in that movie. If you guys haven't seen Gettysburg, it is fantastic. It's very similar to Waterloo, 1970. Which, of course, it's just a movie based on one battle. There's no romance, there's no fluff or anything like that. It's just a super long movie about the heroes of Gettysburg. You know, it's a great movie. Anyways, 20th Maine, they're holding the edge of the line, and how important that is. So right now, this is the 20th Maine right here for the French right here. The 25th. But yeah, they're opening fire, and I'm kind of looking at the terrain here. This is actually really, hopefully these guys should just, well, they are taking some casualties, but if you look here, and this is one thing you definitely want to take note of, guys, when you're playing Napoleon, whether it be vanilla or NTW3, look at the terrain. If your guys can't get a clear shot, you're just going to be wasting bullets. These guys should just chill. They should just chill here, maybe hold fire, because they got a little bit of a shot on the Prussians at the end there, but the Prussians don't really have a shot on them. They're kind of like in a trench. So, I don't know, you might want to hold on to your fire there, but you can see that the gunfire is getting pretty intense now on this far right flank for the French lines, which again, Marshal Ney is holding, which tragically, of course, Marshal Ney died from firing squad. I believe it was, I mean, I'm no expert on his death. I believe it was because he, you know, didn't He joined Napoleon when he came back from exile, and Marshal Ney, you know, had to pay for it. But yeah, sad day. It's sad to see that Marshal Ney to go out that way, you know. But you know, in terms of firing squad, another Marshal who died from firing squad, Murat. I definitely think he deserved. No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. But you know, he kind of betrayed. He didn't kind of. He betrayed Napoleon. And there's that famous line. I forgot who said it. I think it was one of the marshals. And he's like, "You're only king because Napoleon allows it." You know, like, you're only a king because Napoleon has given you that position. And you betray him, you lose that kingship. You know, you're no longer a king. But yeah, Murat, of course, he died from firing squad, and because he tried to take over Naples after the downfall of Napoleon, and it didn't work out for him. And yeah, but you know, it was a. I mean, would it be better for such a glorious man to be locked up, you know, for the rest of his life? Would it be better? I mean, the fact that he said fire, and you know, his famous quote at the end there, you know, I mean, obviously you would have liked to see him just not be imprisoned and he could live his life, you know, quietly. Anyway, it's a little bit of a cav charge here, and you saw that the Prussians were hitting the French hard as the French were repositioning. We got some hussars going in, dealing with this surprise Prussian attack. And there you have it, guys. They repel the attack. I'm not sure how that Prussian cav got there. They might have just snuck through a gap somewhere. But that was a nice little maneuver, aggressive push there from the Prussians, but didn't necessarily. I don't know what he was trying to do there. It just looks like he kind of lost a cav unit. But more Prussians are pushing forward. We got some Prussian line infantry. Again, I don't know what exactly they are. Maybe some Napoleonic experts can tell me based on the uniforms, but they look pretty decent. Yeah, you don't see any of their stats. That is such a challenge, you know? It's really, I'm gonna be real. I think this feature should have stayed in the hardcore battle mode for NTW3, because someone who's like me, that you know, I love this mod. I just don't play it as much as most people. I love covering the battles, and a little bit. I do have a battle though coming out very soon. It's a special battle. We got something in the works. I'm working with the Plex Heated. That's all I'm gonna say. But you're gonna be seeing a lot more battles with me playing in them. But you know, but yeah. Anyways, what I was saying is, like, I just think, you know, in the heat of a battle, there's so much going on. Just having the stats there and just showing, oh, you know, this is a really good unit. You know, I got to be careful around this unit, or this unit can form square. It really helps out. You know, I would say keep this feature in the hardcore mode, but it's not that big of a deal. I like the challenge. Maybe I'm just saying that for my own commentary, you know, so I could like say what this unit is, or what if they're good or whatever. But yeah, we got the French. They've kind of repositioned their lines. Again, this has been a very staggered type line battle situation where the French are constantly doing a bend but don't break, where they're kind of falling back a little bit, really kiting them back. I think the French are trying to pull them into a trap, and that might be why we're seeing the Prussians kind of hang back a little bit here. They're not quite going in. Because, keep in mind, guys, the French have a lot of cav. You can see, there we go. They went in for a little charge there, but the Prussians were paying attention. They form square, and they scare off the cav. So, whoa! Whoa! It's like someone tied a rope to that guy, and he yanked it off his horse. Or yanked him off his horse. But yeah, you can see, I assume what the French are trying to do here is get the Prussians to potentially overextend and push a little too aggressively, and maybe give an opportunity for all this French cav to do something. Also, check this out. I think that was friendly fire, because they've got a foot artillery here that is going to get a pretty solid position. This is pretty genius here, guys. See, this is why I love this mod so much. It's not about how fast. You hear the thunder of the artillery. It's not about how fast you can click or micro. It's about, one, Okay, I would say there's 3 things to this to be a good player in this game. One is obviously understanding the basics of the game. You know, how it works. You know, there's different things you need to pay attention to that are different compared to vanilla. You know, like unit speed. Can the unit form square? You know, in Napoleon vanilla, virtually almost every unit can form square. That's line infantry. So this is very different. So kind of knowing the basics of the game. Number 2, positioning. Positioning is so important in this game. Taking strategic hills, setting up your artillery, that kind of stuff. And then number 3 would have to be like a game of chess, trying to predict what your opponent is going to do. That is the absolute rush of this game. And as you know, as I'm talking here, a big gunfight going on, big line battle. Look at that. The smoke is getting wild. Let's go on the other side here where things are definitely slower. There hasn't been as much of a line battle here. Lots of cav kind of probing here and there and just trying to find a soft spot. But we might witness a huge cav engagement. It's kind of like a Mexican standoff here where we've got both forces not really budging, so it might trigger some sort of massive charge attack, but it does look like both sides are now, as I say that, they're both retreating and creating distance from each other. So we'll see how that plays out. The Prussians are interesting, very interesting here. The Prussians are pushing up. The fact that the French have fallen back, they've kind of left the town open to attack. It's almost as if they want that to happen. Let's keep in mind that these units holding the town are grenadiers. They are very good at this situation, close combat. That is their one. They're terrifying. Look at these men. If you saw these men standing across the way and you had to fight them, absolutely not. I'm out of there. Nope, not a chance. I'm gone. Number 2, they're veterans. They're all veterans. I think, what is it to be? I don't know if these are old guard per se, but to be in the old guard, you have to have frontline experience. So they all know, you know, what it's like, and yeah, they're not afraid to get dirty. So we'll see what happens with that center town point, but Ney is still holding on to the right flank where we have the Imperial Guard now. So this is the other army. So they are actually helping Marshal Ney as they sent up. We got the 2nd chasseur afoot, basically. So they're kind of helping out, and these guys are using the wall as cover here. They got a little bit of a high ground here. But yeah, they're definitely trying to help out his French ally, and they're basically holding on to this. And look how light of a defense it is. We got 1, 2, 3 units of French line infantry, and they're taking on multiple Prussian lines. But keep in mind, these are very good units here. At least I assume so. But yeah, they're definitely kind of giving up the flank of this city because, like I said, there's some really good units in here that excel in close combat, and if they funnel into here, it's going to be a bloody match. Bloody match. But yeah, this is definitely the juiciest part of the battle. It's seeing the most action here. So we're about a quarter of the way into the battle. Oh yeah. God, dude. The sound is so good. That musket crackle is so good. And you can see the Prussians, I kind of like this. They got pretty thick lines here. That's better for morale when you have a thicker formation. Because, you know, when you spread them out too thin, it kind of hurts the morale of the unit. And this makes them feel a little bit more secure. You can see there's a considerable amount of bodies here that are starting to pile up. I love just finding the officer in the heat of the battle. It's just like, keep firing, men, faster, fire at will. You know, there's not much he can do. He's just surveying the battlefield. You know, it would be pretty cool is a game where one player is kind of like normal Total War, where they're commanding from like a bird's eye view, and then other players are an officer in a unit, and they have to kind of follow the Sky Daddy, you know, the general's commands, you know. They have to follow whoever's in the bird's eye view. They have to kind of follow loosely the commands or orders of the players, you know, like for example, if it was like, hey, you know, form a line here, you know, and the officers, maybe they just have regiments of AI, you know, and they have to, you know, kind of control them and organize them. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be that fun, but just something that came to mind when I was, you know, thinking about it. Anyways, the French still holding on. This has just been a slug match right here, slugfest here. They have just been both throwing punches at each other. Nobody's willing to back down. We saw the French kind of reposition here and there, but not much ground has been lost or gained from both sides. So again, I think this is just, I mean, it might just come down to who runs out of ammo. This is a little concerning over here, though, for the French. The Prussians, if I would say there's any opportunity of taking this front line, it would be right here, because the, oh, nice. The Prussian lines are, it's just a, yes, they outnumber the French, but one, I think these French infantry units are better. Two, they have the high ground. I think, I don't know for sure if this actually gives some cover. Maybe, maybe not. But man, I would love to see a Napoleon 2. Or just someone make a new game like this that's heavily inspired by NTW3. You know, make it super realistic like this is. But another thing to note here, the reason this might be such a slugfest here, just a nasty fight where nobody's really winning, it could be that all these trees here, the trees do block some of the rounds. Ooh. Where is that artillery? Oh yeah, the artillery over here. This is also very big for the French. You can see, you know, this is what I want. I kind of forgot to mention this. By the way, there's some cab moving forward. I might want to go check that out. Let's see what they're going. I think they're going for the edge here because this unit might be too small now to form square. Or he's, nope, they can form square. Maybe he's just trying to bring some relief to his line infantry. I'm not really sure, but yeah, he didn't really get much done there with the cav. He did force him to, he kept him on his toes, you know, made sure he was paying attention. But anyways, what I was saying earlier about how important positioning is, think about the position of this artillery. It's such a good position because the French were like up here and they've fallen back, and I'm pretty sure that was by design because that's given the artillery a very good angle on the Prussian lines. So I don't know if that was by design. I think it was, but that was really good artillery positioning right there. And you can see, yeah, they're going for the, yep, yeah. And look, the Prussians are falling back now. I think the artillery has kind of scared them off a little bit, and they're going to reposition and reorganize. Maybe think of a plan to try to take out that French artillery. In fact, all the lines are now falling back from that French defensive position. Now, they are still holding here, and we do have a French unit that has had enough. This is the 69th Giggity. They are breaking from the fight. They are repositioning in another line infantry to hold this this graveyard. So this is the great battle for the graveyard here. This is definitely a very promising site for the Prussians in terms of putting a dent in the front line of the French. And there we go, another French unit breaks. Oh, this is not good, and I wonder what is the Imperial Guard going to do? Are they going to send over some of their old guard? They really can't leave this town undefended. He's got some units in the buildings kind of, you know, hunkering down. Then over here, nothing, still nothing. Guys, we're almost 30 minutes into the battle, and we have, what, 2 full armies that have not even engaged yet. That's the insane thing about this mod. It's so realistic. All right, there we go. This is a huge move. This is a very critical moment in the battle. Let's see what the Prussians can do about this. Now, this is clearly a bad position because they're not going to hit anybody. But they are going to march forward. I wonder if the snow, it is a snowy battlefield. I don't know if that affects them at all. But these troops got to be pretty tired. They've been fighting for a long time, firing their guns. Let's see, they're kind of just holding fire here. Let's see what the French do. They're going to set up and try to fire at them. Let's see what kind of damage they can do. Oh, no, they're moving up. Look at this. This is some point-blank firing. You know they're exchanging words at this point. I mean, talk about the seeing the whites of their eyes, man. This is some close combat. And, yeah, the wall definitely does not give them protection. Yeah. Oh, man, and they both look like they're on the verge of breaking. They did not... Both parties did not like that engagement. They did not like how intense and close that was, and it caused a lot of fear in both ranks, and the French are just backing up. And the reason he's also backing up is because the main line on this right side is also falling back as well. And I think that they're not falling back because of these units here. I think they're reorganizing because they lost ground over at this graveyard. And now the Prussians are falling back as well. Over here, the Prussians are now lighting up this house. They're trying to soften up the troops who are guarding it. We also have another unit over here, the second chasseur, foot hunters, dismounted chasseur, I assume. They're kind of holding the building as well. They're kind of protected by this hill. Yeah, see, I would say like 60, maybe even 70% of their shots just went into the ground there. It didn't even really do anything. So, yeah, they're in a little bit of a trouble there. A little bit of a trouble. All right, so now we got artillery setting up with the Prussians. We got some nice line infantry organizing. These are clean, fresh, green armies. They have not seen any action yet. There is some breaking here, so maybe there was a little bit of a gunfight, at least with the cav. But yeah, look at the French just constantly falling back. Kind of just constantly, they're falling back, but they're keeping the town close to their right flank. I think this is it. I think this is as far as they're going to fall back in this battle. I really don't see them falling back anymore. And I'm a little concerned about the French flank over here. It does seem like the Prussians are handling this flank pretty well. And thankfully, I was surprised the Prussians didn't do this sooner. They've taken this hill in front of the graveyard. And once again, that causes the French to fall back. There's a lot of cav play going on here as they're watching each other. There's even some line infantry in the mix. This is kind of cool. This cav guy was kind of talking to one of his buddies in the line, I suppose. Oh, it looked like he was gonna charge there, but he calls it off. Okay, there's a lot of Prussian cav here. They definitely seem like they're gonna outnumber the French. It's really a matter of skill. Even though the French are outnumbered, they're definitely, yeah, the French are outnumbered in terms of cav here. I don't know. They might need Murat to send over some cav from his forces to help out. He's got some really good cav units. But I'm not sure what the plan is here. The French artillery has it moved? Or was it always here? Oh, they're now changing targets and they're going for the Prussian cav. That's a big sign that they're threatened by the cav. For sure. And they're trying to soften them up. It looks like they've gotten a couple hits. Ooh. Yeah, they got a hit down there. They've gotten a couple hits here and there trying to soften and weaken up this Prussian cav, but Prussia just does not like what he sees, and he is not going to push his cav. He does have artillery kind of countering the French artillery. So they might get lucky and kill some of the French artillery, but so far, no luck. All right. Here we go. No, the French have fallen back even more over here. They've set up some nice artillery to put on the front. These are some very brave artillerymen. I don't know why just artillery can be glitchy like that. God, that's intense. But hey, they haven't. They're like, oh, some artillery hit the French lines over there. Look at these lines. That's intense. All right. Yeah, there's got to be. Yeah, here it is. Here's the artillery, the Prussian artillery that is opening fire on the French. Oof. Flies right over him. I think the Prussian artillery is going for the French artillery. Oh my god, this infantry is getting picked apart. Now, most of the soldiers are going to get back up. And now the artillery changes targets, and now it looks like they're trying to open fire on the Prussian infantry. Just look at this line. This massive line of Prussian infantry. This is the great bold push. And look, did you see the morale drop? That is from the artillery. Look at that artillery. Oh, man. And now, right after the artillery, the French lines open fire, but they're once again falling back. But why? Oh, they've abandoned their artillery. I don't know if did the unit break? I think it broke. Oh, yes. The French artillery has broken. And once again, they're falling back. It seems like, I mean, I don't know what the French plan is here. I really don't. Things are looking, actually, you know, things are looking pretty okay over here. Wait, whoa, we got a big cav engagement going on here. The Prussians. Oh, we missed it when we were looking on the other flank, but it looks like the French went for an aggressive push. You can see there's a couple units of cav breaking. There's another unit of cav. This cav unit should return. They're broken. They're not shattered, so they should return to the fight. But yeah, that did not go well. Maybe the French kind of went with a push here. I don't know how big of an engagement it was. I don't know how many units were in the fight, but it definitely was a Prussian victory in that little skirmish. Let's see what happens here. Oh, we got another charge. We got hussars going in. These guys are not going to win here. There's no way in hell. What's the plan? Why is he doing that? He went in for a suicide charge. It didn't really lead to much. Maybe he's just trying to slow him down. Now the French are following up that charge. Oh, yeah. You have the cuirassiers. I never know how to pronounce that. Cuirassiers? I don't know. I've heard many people pronounce it different things. I'm just going to go with cuirassiers. Anyways, they're charging in. We got some artillery. I think the artillery is already toast, so it's not a big deal. This is definitely a unit that can fight very well for a long period of time compared to the hussars. Oh, big cav fight here right behind the lines of the Prussians. The Prussian lines pushing forward. But yeah, if we zoom out, it does look pretty promising here for the French. They are starting to break the Prussian lines. They are starting to crack here. So this is looking, now France is looking weak here. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Well, that's the crazy thing. I mean, it's mostly because of the town here that's helping them out. And look at what the French are doing, man. I am shocked. Okay, so viewing what I see here, I think what the French are trying to do is delay this fight as long as possible. I know that's, well, yeah, Captain Obvious. Okay, I'm not done. Delay the fight as long as possible. Over in this fight, I assume they're hoping for a French victory, and if they can win on this flank, that's going to free up a bunch of troops to help the fight over on that other flank where they keep falling back from. Here comes another charge of dragoons. This is the 27th dragoons going in. This is Murat. Murray. When you call me out, Murat, can you call me Napoleon? But yeah, sure enough, the dragoons, the cuirassiers, even though the cuirassiers are breaking, it's too much. And look at, they're exhausted, dude. That's one thing you really got to watch out in this mod. You can't just run around carelessly with your cav. You really got to make sure you use your cav in a precise situation. Are they going for a head? They head hunting? Yeah, I think this is the general. They are taking out the general. You can see he's desperate and trying to get to his square, but he breaks him. I'm half certain that's the general. That's a huge win. That's a huge win. What has happened here? The Prussian cav seemed powerful, but I think Murat has sent over, he sent over his dragoons, which are really good. He sent over another unit of dragoons here. He also had the cuirassiers as well in the fight. So yeah, that was huge. The French line is they still have quite the challenge ahead of them, but with all this cav now free to roam behind them, this is going to be a lot more challenging for the Prussians. So this French stand has held strong, and look at this now. The French have given up any kind of line formation and are now forming deeper into the town where they're going to hold against these Prussians, or at least hopefully hold. That's their idea. But yeah, the Fusiliers holding the streets. Again, they are terrified of this force, or maybe they're not terrified. It's just part of their strategy. I'm starting to think. I'm like, this is why I love this mod, because I can't describe it any other way than a game of chess. And I know I do that a lot with a lot of Total War related stuff, but it really is a game of chess in this game. It's not like you're gonna win a battle based on some, okay. And I've got so many thoughts going through my head right now. Okay, it is possible to cause a drastic change in the battle by a sudden surprise cav charge. So it is possible through micro, but it's not even really micromanagement. Like when you charge a cav into an ideal situation and break a bunch of line infantry, it's positioning. You had to position that cav in the right spot. You had to move them in at the right time. And let's not forget fatigue. There's great fatigue in this game, and cav cannot just run around as they please. They will get very tired and ineffective. So yeah, it's all positioning. It's all, consider this a game of chess. The cav is your knights. They can move around, they can leap around units, but they gotta be in the right position. They gotta be in the right position, and if they're not, they will get destroyed. Your line infantry, obviously, your pawns, you could say the grenadiers are kind of like your bishops or your castles, the great grenadiers. But yeah, it's definitely a game of chess, and when you watch this battle, there's most of the time, you're not gonna be surprised by the enemy. It's a long played out strategy, and you got to try to predict, just like in chess. You got to predict what your opponent is going to do, what they plan on doing, and that's how you beat your opponent. You either predict what they're going to do and counter it, or you make them think they can predict you, and then you play out something completely different. So, I'm starting to lose my voice. This has been quite the battle, guys. We are closing. We're more than halfway through it. The French, this has gotten really weird. This has gotten so weird. Look at this. The Prussians have completely flanked around here. The French are going to find themselves surrounded, okay? And that's not good. You know why that's not good? You know what the French are really good at making? Bread, all right? Baguettes. They're really good at making sandwiches, all right? sandwich bread, okay? They don't make... I mean, they make some pretty good meat, too. The French literally, I mean... I'm sorry, but I love all European nations, and they all have their own, you know, delicious dishes and meals and in that stuff. But the French, I mean, they're known for their food. They're known for their delicious food, you know. And anyways, the analogy I'm making here is that French are better being the sandwich part, being the bread part, not the meat part. And right now the Prussians are the pieces of bread closing in on the French. And all this extra French line. Oh, there's a Prussian. Is that a Prussian charge? Yeah, that's a Prussian charge. And we got a counter charge with the French, but it looks like the Prussians are... No, it's French infantry that are breaking. A nice play here by the Prussian cav. See, that's one of those moments where it was actually a little bit of micro there that kind of helped save the day. I just love watching the cav run around with the chaos of the battle in the background. It just looks fantastic. Oh, and here comes more infantry. That's a bad sight. But yeah, the French lose a unit there, but thankfully this first chasseur of foot, they form square and defend off the cav. All right, the French have to win here quickly, and it does look like the French are winning. Oh, there's a new Prussian cav unit. Oh, the Prussians are gonna win this. But there is another French cav unit, the 21st Dragoons from Murat. Ooh, what happened? A lot of their cav units just died. And the Prussians, I don't think they can stomach any more cav battles. No, they break another French cav. The Prussian cav going in. This is a big problem for France, and they've got another unit of Dragoons. This is the Royal Dragoons. Are they going to go in? Yes, they are. There they go. You know what unit I love is the Empress Dragoons. Those guys are sick. They look awesome. But yeah, the Dragoons need to charge in. They need to hurry up. This Prussian cav unit is causing a lot of issues. But the infantry over on this side is crumbling for the Prussians. And this is giving hope to the French, because if you're the Prussians, you got to get into this fight. And that's why they've got to be so frustrated right now, because what's going to happen is that their allies, their other parts of their army over here, they're about to fall to the French. It looks like it. It's hard to tell. It's very close. But if this side falls, all these extra French units are going to be able to turn and help. And you can see, ooh, man, I don't know. The French seem a little outnumbered here. They are pushing up some units. I mean, imagine being one of these soldiers. You just fought for so many, like, in real life hours against the Prussian lines. Now you got to turn around and deal with a fresh, brand new Prussian force that is behind you. But now this is where things are getting very serious. This is the climactic end to the battle, I guess you could say, where you have, it's coming to a head. The battle is coming to a head, and we are about to see who's going to take this one. It could be anybody's game, guys. It could be anybody's game. The Prussians could take it here. The French could take it. But, you know, the French look like they still have control of the town. But the French, at a quick glance, I mean, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because look at the Prussians have all these fresh troops coming out of nowhere. So we'll see how this one plays out. But I think the French can hold here. It's tough to say. I mean, I don't know where these guys were chilling at. I don't know how fresh they are. It looks like they haven't seen any action, so they must have been being held back in reserve. Now they're pushing up. I think it's a little late, right? Like, shouldn't he push these guys up when his units started to look like they were going to lose? But we'll see how the French deal with this. Right now, they're not even looking at them. That's a problem. The French are finding themselves surrounded. Here comes a cav charge by the Prussian hussars to break a French unit. Now we've got infantry charging in. right, guys, so no surprise here. We are seeing the Prussians get aggressive. I'm not sure how to determine who's going to win this game. I think it comes down to whoever takes the town, and they're starting to run out of time. They're down to the last... I can't see it right now. It's actually off my screen because I'm using windowed mode, but you guys will be able to see it. I like to run this game in windowed mode just because sometimes I need to tab out and it doesn't completely like break the game. But yeah, this is not looking good. It looks like the French are really dwindling here. They're trying to hold on to this town. I feel like they need to, at this point, get all of their forces in the town. This is that, or like, what are they gonna do? They're definitely falling back to this church, but it kind of leaves these guys. Look at these guys, man. They are surrounded. What a terrible situation to be in if you're French. These two units fighting off these guys. These Frenchmen are facing these men, fighting them off. Okay, so now they're turning and they're getting very close, but you can see they're getting shot in the back. I'm trying to get a bigger picture here. There's some, oh, wait. There's some French cav that have been holding back for a while now. They're finally moving in. A very big charge right there. Let's see if they can break these guys. They do form squares, so I don't think they're going to be able to break them. So they form square right at the last second. Then we got more French cav pushing forward, but they're very tired, guys. Look at them. They're like, do or die. This is your moment. And look at, there's a big charge right here. The Prussians, they're getting very aggressive because I think they realize they probably have the advantage. Oh no, are they forming square? I don't think so. Oh, these guys are gonna break. Oh yeah, they broke there, giving hope. Big Prussian cav charge going to the front line. Things are getting spicy, guys. Oh my goodness. The French are holding on against the cav charge. Their morale is dropping a little bit. They're trying to hold on. Let's see if they can push back this Prussian cav charge and maintain the French line. Oh, every time it gets bad, it goes back up to green. No, they're breaking here. Oh my God, this is just turning into a complete chaos. The Prussian cav are unstoppable. The French held for as long as they could, but now the Prussians are going for the final kill. There's a bunch of French troops. Oh yeah, big break right there for the French. Oof. Big break. Now the French, their only hope of winning this one is holding the town. Now, I assume, again, I don't know exactly what they're playing here. Like, I don't know if this is LOC or just complete army destruction. You know, like they're gonna fight to the death. And then over here, there's some cav play. Let me go ahead and minimize this. French look like they're getting beat here. I mean, it looks like the French are getting beat everywhere, guys. I mean, their infantry is crumbling. Their cav is crumbling. They might be able to hold on here. The French, they need to hold on here. If they want any chance of winning this, they've got to hold on. And they are winning. That is a good sign for the French. Let's see if they can finish this fight, because they are going to need as much cav as possible. And that's one thing that the French have over the Prussians. They've got lots and lots of units of cav. They're tired, they're exhausted, but they need to let them rest. They need to chill and relax here for a second, because they're going to come into play here against this Prussian line. And, yeah, this is what's left here. Oh, wait, the French are fighting back. This is the Imperial Guard. They got 2 units here fighting for this church. And this is actually plays in their favor. A little bit of a, you know, a big army is smaller in tight places, you know, basically. We're going to break these guys. I can feel it. I can see it too. There we go. They break them, but the Prussians still pushing around with troops. These guys are on the run. They're winded. They're like... like what I sound like whenever I do any kind of like cardio intense workout. Oh man. But they just form square and they're defending the graveyard. They're trying to evacuate these troops out of there. They could try to sandwich this Prussian unit, but they're just so tired. They're so tired. And look at all the victorious Prussian units now making their way to the town. This is the final stand. Look at this. They got a little bit of artillery here. Okay, that's a little promising. I like seeing the artillery. That gives them hope. These units are fatigued. It looks like they're going to fight to the end. They win here. They're still going to try to evacuate them out of there. But the Prussian cav, they just will not let these men retreat. They form square. See if they can break this cav. But this is it. Their final stand in the city. And again, I'm trying to see here. I assume they're playing LOC. That's usually what everybody plays. Which, if you don't know what LOC, it stands for, I believe it's, what does it stand for? I forgot. Something of line of communication, I think is what it stands for. So what happens here is that there's different buildings on the map, and you can see there's a building here you can go into. There's a building over here that you can go into, and it gives you points. And whoever controls the most buildings at the end of the timer is victorious. Now, I personally think this version or game mode, whatever you want to call it, is the best way to play NTW3 because it forces players to get aggressive, or it basically gives you things that you want to fight over for. And it creates scenarios like this, where you've got the French on their last stand. Their backs are to the wall, and this is it. This is all they can do. And this is the kind of the environments that this game mode makes. It keeps players not, you know, it prevents them from just sitting back doing nothing. They got to get into the fight. They got to capture points or defend points, whatever may be the case. But yeah. Anyways. So we are getting very close to the end here. I can't tell what that says. Well, let me see. What was that, 14 minutes? 14 minutes left in the battle. So I believe the Prussians have to clear out this town. They do have the capability. Now, here's a little side note. Now, you can destroy these capture points. So you can destroy these buildings that the French are holding. But if you destroy a building, it's an automatic point for whoever was defending it. So you definitely don't want to do that. Here comes a charge from the Prussians. You know they're getting aggressive because they're running out of time. Oh my god, they're trying to hold. They're trying to hold. They are trying to hold. The French do hold there. That first initial charge from the Prussians breaks. Let's see what the Prussians can do here. Can they take this town? Look at what's left. I mean, there's really not much. There's a tiny units here and there. We got some Prussians on the flank. We've got this building that's being held. Oh, and it's getting shot because, so the strategy go into this one is it's good to shoot down the building to where it's about 50%. These are things I just recently learned about NTW3. It's good to shoot down the building to around 50% because it really weakens the morale. It can affect the morale if I'm remembering correctly. You can get some kills, obviously, by shooting artillery into the building. I think so. And also it can affect the morale of the troops in it when the building is 50% destroyed. You just don't want to destroy it completely. So there's some units waiting to charge in. I think we're going to see some mass charges here. But guys, as this plays on, it's not looking good for the Prussians. It seems like a lot of them are breaking. They're tired. They've done a lot of marching. They've done a lot of fighting. There's a good amount of them. But let's not forget, guys, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 units of French. Well, 3 units of French cav. Actually, 4 units of French cav. I didn't see that one. You got 1 unit of line infantry making their way back. So they've got to worry about pushing into the town. They've got to worry about this French cav. And the French players have done an excellent job here of maintaining their cav. Oftentimes, players get very ambitious with their cav, very aggressive with their cav, and so when it comes to the very end of the battle, the cav tends to be non-existent because you threw them into the fight too early. But the French here have done a great job of preserving their cav, keeping them in the fight. Here comes a bold charge here from Murat. Murat! All right, there we go. And they cannot form square, but the French cav, well, they're recovering. No! One of the French cav units breaks. Oh, it looks like this French, but they both break. Unfortunately, this unit forms square, but the sight, maybe the sight of their comrades here breaking has kind of put some fear in their hearts. Oh, here we go. The Prussians going for a charge here. Gotta zoom in. Here it is. I wish they worked a little bit more with the combat inside the buildings. This looks horrible. It just looks like a mess. This is cool, you know, having troops at the window. Also, like, why is there grass growing in this building? Like, they couldn't put wood floors down. Oh! He's like, you will not take this building. Oh! Oh, did they break? Did they break them? Yeah, they did. But there's another unit ready to charge in. Oh, this is huge, guys. Look at all these French units. They've recovered. They're like, no, we are not done yet. Rally. And now the tables have turned. And the Prussians find themselves getting hit from multiple angles. It's becoming quite the mess. And look at all the reserves here. They're depleted. They're tired. What happened here with these guys? I don't know. But they're depleted. They're tired. They're down to 50 or so troops. They can win the day. Napoleon! Napoleon! There he is. Look at him. Look at that derpy face. Oh, he's like, oh, you smell that? Oh man, my favorite Corsican. Oh, look at this is why he's OP. He can run through buildings. So yeah, Napoleon's on the fight. Or in the fight. That's cool. What? I didn't know. I didn't see. I guess he's part of the Grand Imperial Army. But I'm starting to see a lot of shaken soldiers from Prussia and very, very proud and confident soldiers from France. Man, what a turn of events. What happened? It's just like the Prussians just ran out of fuel. You know, they just got tired and their morale crumbled. I think it's also all the buildings that the French are holding here. Maybe it would have been better, I know this is always hindsight, but maybe it would have been better for the Prussians when they were pushing here to just push into the town. You know, push into the town and take it. I don't know, it's tough to say. I think the French played this very well. They definitely played the long game. It's not over by any means, but it is looking like a French victory as this goes on. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna be real, guys. It does look over. Just considering that if this was like an open map, if this was flat ground, no buildings, I'd say, yeah, the Prussians have a good opportunity of winning this. But since the French control this town, they have the defensive buildings.
This building has fallen to the enemy.
Oh, what? Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. The players are now starting to capture the building. That's usually what happens at the end of LOC is the troops will go in and capture the buildings to add points. I assume every house here is worth 1 point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now the French control 4 houses, so they have 4 points. Now technically, if I'm not mistaken, can we not go under the world, please? The Prussians could take all these buildings here and it would be a tie. If I'm not mistaken, the French only have control of the city. The only thing is that the Prussians are on their last leg, and I don't even think this is going to end in LOC mode. Yeah, this is an instant rout. That's the battle, guys. That's going to wrap it up. So we will go ahead and I'll just edit this out and get to the end results. So this was a French victory, and it was a glorious battle. Really good shifting around of troops. They just kind of like a clock went around and it worked out, and they just held the town and did enough damage to the Prussians to where they couldn't take the town. All right, guys, here we are. So here are all the you can see the different Prussian armies here. Finally, here's the kills. Look at this. I don't know what, I don't think, oh, okay, I see. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we have Lonorad, who sent in the battle replay, getting 840 kills. He was the Imperial Guard. See who got the most kills. It looks like the Marshal that I don't know how to pronounce. Jan. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm so sorry. We got Hypericus here, getting the second most kills. Lost just under 1,000. And then it looks like the Prussians couldn't get the kills there. But they had bigger armies, so that's probably why the French had more kills. But I'll go ahead and just kind of quickly go through this, and you can kind of look at the stats. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I need to wrap this video up. I'm literally losing my voice. These battles are very epic and very long. So thank you guys so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun, and I will see you next time on the battlefield.